Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're plunging into a platform that's really fundamental for a lot of big organizations. SAP Business Technology Platform, you'll hear it called SAP BTP.
Right. BTP, it comes up a lot.
We've got this, well, pretty detailed guide here, backed with info.
Yeah, there's a fair bit to unpack.
And our mission really is to sift through it, cut through the enterprise speak, and pull out the absolute must-knows for you.
So you get what it is, why it matters, and maybe most importantly, how companies are actually using it.
Exactly. Think of it as your essential briefing, your fast track on BTP. Okay, let's get into it.
Let's do it. So starting at the top, what is BTP? The source describes it as a cloud-based integrated environment from SAP.
An environment? Okay, not just one thing then.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Its core purpose, really, is helping businesses develop new apps, connect different systems, and extend what they already have, both SAP and non-SAP stuff.
So like a digital workshop, tools and space to build and connect things.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's about enabling, faster innovation, helping with that whole digital transformation push we hear so much about.
And the guide mentioned it used to be called something else. A bit of history there.
That's right. Yeah, it was SAP Cloud Platform before.
Okay.
The rebrand to BTP, well, it reflects that it's more than just cloud hosting now. It's positioned as this foundational tech layer for what SAP calls the intelligent enterprise, much broader capabilities.
Right, the intelligent enterprise. So it's evolved, but I mean, the world's full of cloud services, right? Development tools everywhere. Why BTP specifically? What problems is this source saying it actually solves for organizations?
Yeah, that's the key question. And the guide, it gets right into the common headaches businesses face. A massive one is just integrating everything. Companies have old legacy systems on premise, maybe a newer cloud HR system, some third-party CRM, custom apps they built years ago.
Well, yeah, the integration nightmare. Islands of data everywhere. It feels almost universal.
It really is. And the source points out, businesses also need to innovate faster, adapt to market changes really quickly.
Which those big core systems aren't always great at, right? They're powerful, but maybe a bit rigid sometimes.
Exactly. So being able to extend them, customize them, add specific functions without messing up the core that becomes essential.
Makes sense.
And then, of course, there's data, just mountains of it. But turning that data into actual insights, doing real-time analytics, predictive stuff.
Needs the right tools. And you need to bring the data together first.
Precisely. So the guide basically presents BTP as SAP's strategic answer, a unified tool set to tackle those specific problems: integration, innovation speed, and getting value from data.
Okay, that framing helps. It's built for the complexity. Now, the source talks about 4 core pillars to organize all these capabilities. Can you walk us through those? What does each one actually do?
Yeah, these pillars are like the main functional buckets. First up is application development and automation.
Okay, building stuff.
It's exactly building new apps, adding features. The guide mentions SAP Build. That's their low-code, no-code offering. Makes it easier for, well, non-professional developers sometimes.
So citizen developers, potentially.
Right. But it also has tools for traditional developers, like the Cloud Application Programming Model CCAP, they call it, which is a framework for building enterprise apps efficiently, and the ABAP environment for folks used to SAP's classic language.
ABAP in the cloud, okay.
Plus, you've got tools for automating processes. Think workflow management and robotic process automation, RPA.
Got it. So pillar 1, building and automating, enabling that innovation piece. What's pillar 2?
Pillar 2 is integration. And given that integration challenge we just talked about, this one's absolutely critical.
It's backbone, maybe.
You can say that. It's centered around the SAP integration suite, tools and services to connect apps and data, whether they're in the cloud or still on-premise. A big focus here is on managing APIs.
Application programming interfaces, the contracts between systems.
Exactly. Letting different software talk securely and reliably.
Okay, so connecting the dots, tackling the silos. What about the data pillar? Getting value from it all.
That's pillar 3, data and analytics. This is where you find things like SAP Agent A Cloud.
Ah, the in-memory database. Speed.
Right. Crucial for real-time processing and analytics. You also get SAP Analytics Cloud here for dashboards, BI, planning, plus other data warehousing and management tools.
Turning raw data into something useful makes sense. And the last one.
Pillar 4 is artificial intelligence, AI. This is all about embedding intelligence.
Like into the apps and processes.
Exactly. The source mentions SAP AI business services, machine learning tools, conversational AI for chatbots, adding things like predictions, smart automation, that kind of thing.
Okay, so build and automate, integrate data and analytics and AI. That gives a pretty clear picture of the main areas BTP covers.
Yeah, it provides that structure for understanding what tools are available for which kinds of problems.
Now, this is where, for me, it gets really interesting. The source goes beyond just listing features. It actually touches on the technical foundation. What makes these pillars, actually work? What's under the hood?
Right. It does highlight some key technologies. We mentioned SAP HANA Cloud already under data and analytics, but it's really fundamental across BTP. That in-memory aspect, keeping data in RAM.
Means super fast access.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Essential for real-time dashboards, high-volume transactions, that sort of thing.
Okay. And what about where the apps actually run? The environments.
BTP uses Cloud Foundry and Kyma runtimes. Think of them as like standardized engines for running modern applications, especially those built with microservices.
Breaking big apps into smaller pieces.
Right. And a really key benefit, the source points out, is multi-cloud support.
Meaning
You're not locked into just one vendor. You can run BTP services in your apps on AWS, on Azure, Google Cloud, or, SAP's own data centers.
okay. That's big. Companies often have preferred clouds or existing deals.
Exactly. Gives them choice.
Now, a practical question. If I build my shiny new app on BTP in the cloud, but my main SSP system, say S4HANA, is still running in my own data center, how do they talk securely?
Good question. That's handled by connectivity and destinations. The source specifically calls out the SAP Cloud Connector.
Cloud connector, okay.
Imagine it like a secure VPN tunnel, but it's initiated from your internal network out to BTP.
So you don't have to punch big holes in your firewall coming in.
Precisely. It lets the cloud apps securely access specific systems inside your network without exposing you too much. Big security benefit.
Got it. The secure handshake. And we mentioned the integration suite earlier under the pillars. What's its technical role here?
Yeah, the integration suite is crucial for simplifying things. Technically, it offers pre-built integration packages, adapters for common systems, SAP, and third-party. But fundamentally, it relies heavily on API-based integration.
Using those standardized interfaces again.
Right. It pushes an API-first approach. This is way more robust and maintainable than building lots of custom, brittle, point-to-point connections everywhere. It's a big part of simplifying that complex enterprise mess.
So standardized parts, secure tunnels, API first. That's the tech making the pillars work together. Okay, let's step back from the tech for a sec. How are companies actually using BTP? What are the real-world use cases the source describes?
The guide gives some good concrete examples. A really common one is extending SAP solutions.
Meaning?
Taking a standard SAP app like S4HANA or maybe SuccessFactors for HR and building extra bits on BTP that the standard product doesn't have.
Like adding a custom feature.
Exactly. Maybe a specific mobile app for field technician that pulls data from S4 or a unique approval workflow needed for your industry. You build it on BTP so you don't customize the core system directly, which can cause problems later.
Right, keep the core clean, like adding a conservatory onto a standard house instead of knocking down internal walls.
Perfect analogy. Another use case is building intelligent enterprise apps.
So new apps from scratch.
Yeah, entirely new applications that bake in AI or analytics from the start. Maybe an app that predicts which customers might leave using machine learning.
Yeah.
Or optimizes delivery routes.
Apps that are smart, not just transactional.
Exactly. Then there's seamless integrations. This is the direct application of that integration pillar.
Connecting SAP to non-SAP things.
Right. Connecting your SAP, ERP to Salesforce or Workday or maybe some specialized manufacturing execution system, creating that truly connected landscape.
Tying the whole digital operation together.
Process automation is another big one, using BTP's workflow or RPA tools to automate repetitive tasks or complex processes that span multiple systems.
Like invoice approvals or order processing.
Yeah, stuff like that. Things that are tedious, manual, and cross-system boundaries, freeing people up for more valuable work.
Makes sense.
And finally, data-driven insights. Really leveraging that data and analytics pillar, building real-time dashboards, doing complex analysis, forecasting, getting actionable intelligence to decision makers faster.
Okay, those examples really bring it home. It's about extending, building smart, connecting, automating, and analyzing. The guide even has a little scenario to tie it all together, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. A simplified walkthrough of building a mobile app that integrates with an on-premise S4HANA system. It shows how the pieces fit.
Okay, take us through that. How does the scenario play out in the source?
Right, so first step, set up the environment.
Getting the basics ready.
Yeah, you provision the BTP services you need, maybe a runtime, Ancient Cloud, the integration suite. And crucially, you configure that SAP Cloud Connector to make the secure link back to your S/4 system.
Okay, foundation and the secure bridge. What's next?
Step 2, application development. You actually build the mobile app. The guide suggests using tools like SAP Build Apps, the low-code option, or maybe the SAP model if you're coding.
And this app needs data from S4.
Exactly. It calls APIs that S4 exposes to set customer data or maybe update orders, whatever it needs to do.
So build the app on BTP, talk to the core system via APIs.
Got it. Then, step 3, integrate and extend. This is where you might use the integration suite to maybe send some data from this mobile app to, say, Salesforce or a delivery partner system.
Okay, connecting it outwards.
Right. Or you could use workflow services to add an approval step if a user does something specific in the app. You're weaving it into the larger process landscape.
Adding automation around it.
Exactly. And the final step, deploy and monitor. You push the finished app to run on Cloud Foundry or Kyma within BTP.
Make it live?
Yep. And then you use BTP's monitoring tools to keep an eye on its performance, see how much it's being used, check its health, and maybe use analytics tools to look at the data flowing through it.
That step-by-step really helps visualize how you'd use the different BTP parts for a real project.
Okay, zooming out again, big picture. What are the main advantages the source says companies get from adopting BTP?
It sums up several key benefits. A big one is agility and innovation. Just being able to build and roll out new stuff faster.
Speed to market, always important. Definitely. It also promises reduced IT complexity, especially around integration. That standardized API approach and pre-built content means less custom code, less mess.
Less integration spaghetti, as they say.
Exactly. Scalability is another plus. Being cloud-based, you can scale services up or down easily as demand changes. You don't have to over-provision hardware.
More elastic. Pay for what you use.
Right. And because of those data and analytics tools, you get enhanced decision-making, more real-time insight.
And making smarter choices faster.
And finally, the source suggests potential cost efficiency, less development time, maybe lower maintenance for integrations, and those consumption-based pricing models can be efficient if managed well.
Okay, so faster, simpler, scale smarter, maybe cheaper. Sounds pretty good. But, big platforms like this are never just upsides. What challenges or considerations does the source mention?
No, you're right. It's important to be realistic. The guide points out a few key things.
Change management is a big one.
The people side. Yeah. Exactly. Rolling out new BTP-based apps often means people have to work differently. That needs careful planning, good training, getting users on board.
It's not just about the tech working. People have to use it effectively.
Absolutely. Then there's security and governance, always critical, especially in the cloud. You need strong policies, the right skills to manage security settings, data privacy, compliance within BTP.
It's an ongoing effort, not just a setup task.
For sure. Yeah. And a very practical challenge, skills availability.
Finding people who know this stuff.
Yeah. BTP involves new tech, different ways of developing. Companies need to make sure their teams or their partners actually have the expertise to build and run things well on the platform.
Got to have the right builders for the workshop.
Exactly. And the guide also quickly mentions licensing.
Right. How does that work, typically?
According to the source, it's mostly consumption-based. You pay for the services you actually use, database size, compute hours, number of API calls, that kind of thing.
Pay as you go.
There are options like pay as you go, yeah, but also enterprise agreements for bigger, more predictable usage. The main point is you really need to understand your needs and likely consumption to pick the right model and manage costs.
Match the license to the actual usage. Makes sense. And looking forward, any hints in the source about where SAP is taking BTP?
It mentions ongoing investment. Expanding AI services seems to be a focus, simplifying integration and automation even further, and boosting those low-code to no-code tools like SAP Build.
Making it easier for more people to build things.
Seems to be the direction, keeping it as the platform for innovation and adapting to change.
So it's definitely not static, it's evolving.
Great.
Okay. So wrapping this up, what does it all mean? Our deep dive into this source really shows SAP BTP positioned as this, comprehensive foundation. It sits conceptually across and above SAP's core applications.
Right. As the place to build, integrate, analyze, automate.
Yeah, enabling companies to innovate faster, connect their often messy landscapes, and hopefully make better decisions using data, whether it's modernizing old stuff, linking systems, building new intelligent apps. It aims to provide the tool set.
Trying to be that unified cloud environment to help businesses become more of that intelligent enterprise SAP talks about, bringing together capabilities that used to be separate or needed lots of third-party tools.
It definitely raises a question based on all this. If a platform like BTP really can eventually connect almost everything, all the apps, all the data, does the main challenge then shift? Maybe it's less about if you can connect the systems,
And more about.
more about deciding what you actually want those connected systems to do. What intelligence do you embed? What processes do you fundamentally change now that the connections are, at least theoretically, easier? Maybe the bottleneck moves from the technical integration to the business imagination. Something for you to think about.